In the small town of Haven Hill, surrounded by dense forests, stood an old Victorian house. Its windows were darkened by time and its creaky floor was eerie. This house was the home of the Harper family: Emily, her husband Jake, and their 10-year-old son Liam. The family had moved here just a couple months ago, hoping to start a new life. Living with them was their cat, black as coal with green eyes, named Luna. From the first few days, Emily sensed that something was wrong with the house. At night she heard strange rustling noises, as if someone was walking down the hallways. But Jake dismissed it as the age of the house. Liam, on the other hand, seemed utterly enamored. He would play in the attic and talk about his new friends. Emily wrote it off as a childish fantasy until one day she noticed Liam talking to the void. One night, when Jake was late for work, Emily heard Luna hissing in the hallway. It was a low, menacing sound she had never heard before. Emily walked out of the bedroom and saw her cat standing in Liam's doorway. Luna was staring into the darkness of his room, her back arched and her fur stood up. "What is it, girl?" Emily whispered, but Luna only hissed louder. Suddenly, there was a whisper in Liam's room. It was a low, lingering voice, and it seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Emily froze, her heart racing. She rushed to the door and turned on the light. Liam was sound asleep, but his face was pale and his lips were moving as if he were talking in his sleep. Luna suddenly calmed down but continued to stare into the corner of the room, which now seemed darker than it should be. The next day, Emily decided to talk to her son. "Liam, you were talking in your sleep last night. What were you talking about?" she asked cautiously. The boy looked at her with a serious look. "It wasn't me talking, Mom. It was a friend of mine. His name is Edgar. He lives here in the house." Emily felt a chill run down her spine. "Liam, it's just a fantasy. Edgar doesn't exist." "But he's real, Mom," Liam insisted. "He said he misses his cat. He wants Luna to stay with him." The words made Emily wary. That night she decided not to go to bed but to watch the house. Luna hissed again, but now the cat was walking around the house as if looking for something. Emily followed her. Luna led her to the attic. Emily had never liked this place. It always seemed too dark and cold for her. But now, when the cat meowed and started scratching at the door, Emily couldn't resist. Taking the flashlight, she opened the door and cautiously climbed the stairs. The attic was chaos, with old boxes, dusty toys, and cobwebs covering everything. Luna made her way to the farthest corner of the room and froze, staring at an old chest. Emily stepped closer, her hands trembling. She opened the chest and saw a dusty blanket and something wrapped in it. Unwrapping the blanket, Emily found an old plush cat toy and a yellowed photograph. The picture showed a boy, about 10 years old, with a black cat in his arms. On the back of the photo, in neat handwriting, was written, "Edgar and Luna, 1923. Emily felt her heart sink. Luna hissed louder than ever, and then came a voice like the mysterious whisper in Liam's room. "She belongs to me. Give her back." Emily dropped the photograph abruptly and rushed downstairs, carrying Luna in her arms. But the house seemed to come alive. Doors slammed on their own, floorboards creaked, and whispers grew louder. When she reached Liam's room, the boy was standing at the window, his eyes glassy and his lips mumbling something unintelligible. "Liam!" Emily shouted, grabbing him by the shoulders. "Wake up!" The boy turned around, but his gaze was blank. Suddenly, Luna jumped from Emily's arms and stood between her and her son, arching her back and hissing loudly. The room filled with icy cold, and the whispering turned into a loud scream. "She's mine!" Luna rushed to the corner of the room where a dark figure suddenly appeared. With a loud meow, the cat clawed at that shadow and it began to disappear, dissolving into thin air. Liam fell to the floor and Luna turned back to Emily, breathing heavily. The next morning, Emily packed up the family and they left the house, leaving everything they could. They moved to another part of the country and no more strange things happened to them. But Luna had changed. She stopped playing and no longer meowed. Instead, she often sat by the window, staring out at nothing, as if she were guarding her family from something unseen. Emily still kept the picture of Edgar and his cat, but never opened it again. She knew one thing. Sometimes pets can be not only our friends but also our protectors from something we can't understand.